Alright guys, this might not be as long as the other videos because I am sick. If you hear me blowing my nose, I apologize. And I know that must be annoying, but there's nothing I can do about that. If I hear sneezing, all that other stuff, I'm sick, don't feel good. So yeah. Let's get right into it though. As we start off with a sneeze, my bad. But like I said, I'm not going to be able to go through this whole video without having to do it. There's really nothing I can do about that. But yes, there's obviously some controversy going on. So I think we'll start with the coaches openings and stuff like that. There's been a lot of weird. I mean, not weird. The 49ers one kind of surprised me the most out of all of them so far. The Bills one I think was a mistake. I still think that's a mistake. Even though some player, Sammy Watkins came out and said it wasn't, but whoever's gonna come through there, I know Tyrod Taylor, not the greatest passer from the pocket in the world, but man, is he a playmaker? I don't know and then I don't know if in the last game against the Jets, they wanted to see what they had for the future. Obviously, with EJ Manuel, they treated it like a preseason game, but Cardell Jones got some snaps. But yeah, so a lot of weird stuff. And go back to the 49ers. That is the most dysfunctional, if not one of the top 3 dysfunctional franchises in the NFL right now. Chip got 1 season. He got 1 draft. So we really don't know. DeForest Buckner. We really don't know how good some of those players will be. Drone. I don't know. Cap's not going to be back there. They fired their GM. That franchise is going to be in turmoil for a long time. I don't care how good of a head coach comes in. I don't know if you want to be a head coach with that owner. Not a lot of coaches have gotten along with him. He fired one of the greatest head coaches I've seen in the NFL, in Harbaugh, obviously. I don't know if you want to be a coach there, really. I don't know if you're going to get a high-end coach there because of that. So, yeah, if you're a 49ers fan, I feel bad for you because that is a very tough situation to be in. So let's look at the possible head coaching candidates. Now, obviously, Denver is probably the most attractive spot, because obviously Gary Kubiak is retiring, and I think a lot of people saw that coming because of the health problems he's had. He missed, I think, a game. He's missed the last 2 seasons. I think he's missed 2 games, and even when he was with Houston, he missed a lot of games because of it. He missed quite a few games, I think, with Houston because of his health problems. But he's a great coach. He really is. I love his scheme. The Denver Broncos probably are gonna miss him because what he's built there. But yeah, you have a great defense there, and you're gonna have to figure some things out on offense. I'm not a Trevor Siemian fan. I really do not like. I don't think he's a franchise guy. I don't know. A lot of people like him. I really don't know why. But I mean, I don't know. I really don't understand it. But yeah, so I think you're gonna have a lot to deal with on that offense to try to get it fixed because it's been bad for a long time now, and a lot of that has had to do with the quarterback play. Even when they won the Super Bowl, it wasn't very good. So. Yeah, so they got a lot to figure out there. But some of the coaches or potential coaches, you've got Vance Joseph, who I am a Dolphins fan. I've watched him all year, and even before that, when he was with Cincinnati, and he's obviously learned under Wade Phillips. He's probably, in my opinion. Now you got Kyle Shanahan. I think Josh McDaniels might try to look for a job. Obviously, he was a head coach before. So those are probably the 3 top ones if Josh is willing to try to become head coach at any point. But yeah, so Vance, in my opinion, is the best. I think Kyle Shanahan's a great coordinator. I don't know about a leader and a head coach. I think he's a great coordinator. I don't know about him running a whole team. We'll have to see though, and maybe he won't even want it. I really don't know, but Vance Joseph definitely wants to be head coach. I think he's the most ready for the job. I think he's probably the most talented. If he goes to Denver, it fits like a glove if he goes to Denver. Him and Wade Phillips are like super tight. He learned under Wade. If he went to Denver, that's like a perfect fit for him. Anywhere he goes, he's gonna make that team better. I don't care who hires him. But yeah, so Vance, in my opinion, probably the best candidate for the job. So yeah, Kyle Shanahan, like I said, I don't know. I think Josh is another good example of that. Really good coordinator. Not really sure if he's a great leader or a head coach or a team builder. I really don't think he's that. I think he's just a great coordinator. Yeah, so So yeah, that basically answers those questions. Obviously, Indianapolis. Indianapolis is another situation. I don't know if if they're gonna fire Pagano, Chuck Pagano. Don't know if they're gonna do it. He's not. I think that needs to happen. I think they need to get a new GM. I think a lot of things need to happen down there in Indianapolis. They need a fresh breath of air. That team really, really needs a makeover on defense. That's one of the worst defenses, one of the oldest defenses in the NFL. That whole team is really old. They need a running back. Toussaint, you got Turbin, you got Frank. Frank, obviously one of the best running backs in the league. He rushed for 1,000 yards. Just need a little bit more, maybe a home run ability, a little bit more pop back there. And obviously, they need probably a big receiver. They have Phillip. They have Boyle, who's a really good receiving tight end. They have T.Y. Hilton, so they have good threats in the receiving game. That offensive line is terrible, so they need somebody. I really don't think it's all Pagano's fault, but I do think they need somebody different. I really do. That team needs a crapping, just a big breath of fresh air there. So yeah. Then let's go into the NFC playoff picture. Now, Green Bay is hosting the New York Giants, if I'm not mistaken. So that game's going to be interesting for a whole lot of reasons. The Packers defense is not very good, and especially since they just sustained some serious injuries. Obviously to Seth Rollins, who's really hurt, and they've just been banged up all year. Their pass rush is really good though. Nick Perry and Clay Matthews. Julius Peppers. So they have good passers, but I don't think. The Giants' offense has been pretty bad for a couple games now, more than a couple actually. They've been pretty bad. The defense for the Giants obviously has come on really strong. The talent that a lot of people will question, man, was it worth all that money? Was it worth all the money? All that other stuff. It has paid off in full, man. That team is a very complete team. Now, if they can figure out the offense side of the football, pass protection has been a very big problem for them in a lot of games this season. That's a big problem, especially the matchup with the Packers at home in Lambeau. That's going to be a problem. But their offense is so explosive. I think last time they played in the regular season, which was this season, the Giants waxed them pretty good. So we're going to see. And it was in Lambeau, too, by the way. If I had to pick, Aaron Rodgers is obviously on an MVP tear, and you don't want to give him a lot of chances, but he's going against a very good defense, and he struggled against that defense. Now that team was extremely hurt on the offense side of the football when he did, and that's when the Packers' offense was struggling, and a lot of that had to do with injuries. Excuse me, but so I don't know. That's going to be an interesting, because obviously of the pass protection issues. And anytime Eli is under pressure, he's not very good. So I don't know. That's a really interesting game because, like I said, the Giants' offense is explosive. It's very explosive because they have a lot of playmakers between Shepard, Beckham, Paul Perkins is pretty good. Their two tight ends, Donnell and I can't remember the other guy right now. They're pretty dang good too. So yeah, and Rashad Jennings is a great, backup, really good receiving running back on screens. They run screens really well. But that defense is really good. So I think if they're gonna win that game, it's gonna come down to defense, and it's gonna come down to Aaron Rodgers having a bad game. It's gonna come down to him having an off game, and Eli's gonna have to have a really good game. Odell Beckham, this is his first playoff game, so that's gonna be fun to watch. If I had to pick a team in this game, I'm gonna go with the Green Bay. I would say that they would win that game. I don't know if it's going to be close, though. I feel like that game's going to be close. Obviously, the two times the Giants went to the Super Bowl, they beat the Packers in the NFC Championship at Lambeau Field. So yeah, Eli's had some history up there. He's won some playoff games there, but excuse me. I don't know if he's going to pull it off this time. And again, it's going to take a bad game from Aaron Rodgers for them to win that game. Okay, so then we go to the Seahawks and the Lions. Now, the Lions have had a very outstanding season. Matthew Stafford has put not a great team on his back. I feel like He really has. I mean, all NFL record. They've won 9 games. In 8 of those games, it was fourth quarter comeback by Matthew Stafford. That's crazy. I mean, one player making that much of a difference is very unheard of in the league. And he had my vote for MVP, because when I look at MVP, it's like, how much does he mean to that team, and how good is he overall against the competition? And there's like 3 or 4 guys in the league that can make that much of a difference. So yeah, I mean, he's done such a good job. Their offense has come together. They've been hurt. Theo Riddick's obviously out. I don't know if he's playing this game. Zach Zenner, though, he's played pretty well in his absence. And they really try to run the ball out of the pistol. I hate that formation, to be honest with you guys. I've always hated it. Never really thought it worked. I just hate those plays out of that formation. But Matthew Stafford can win you any game. He's got one of the greatest deep ball throws a beautiful deep ball like nobody else. He can fit in between 2 people like it's nothing. So yeah. And then you go over to Seattle. Now, obviously, the Lions are traveling to CenturyLink Field, so this is going to be a very, very tough game to win. Matthew Stafford is going to have to have one of the greatest performances in NFL history in the playoffs, because that's what it's going to take to beat this team. That defense is going to have to hold up on the road at Seattle. Against Russell Wilson, Jimmy Graham, and all these guys. That's going to be a tough task, especially since how banged up that defense has been all year. With Zeke Johnson struggling to get it back to 100% with his injuries. Obviously, Darius Slay is way far from 100%. And their defense is aging a little bit too with Raphael, but Golver Quinn. Some of those players are really old, so it's gonna be a very tough game for them to win. Obviously, Seattle's been bipolar, but they're really good at home. So, if I had to pick one, and I love Matthew Stafford and the Detroit Lions, but that defense for Seattle is one of the most consistent positional groups in the NFL. That offense is bipolar as balls, but at home they're pretty dang good. So I'm gonna go with the Seattle Seahawks, and I don't think it's gonna be a very close game. And I hate to say that, but it's gonna be a really tough game for them to win. And the playoff atmosphere in that stadium with Russell Wilson, it's gonna be very tough to win. Excuse me. Let's go to the AFC. Now, I'm not gonna preview the Dolphins one, the Dolphins and Steelers game, because I'm just not gonna do that, because I'm a Dolphins fan. It's gonna be very not biased, but you know what I mean. Anyway, I'm just not gonna do it. And the Raiders and Texans. This game is very interesting because you have 2 terrible starting quarterbacks. Like Matt McGloin. I would rather have Matt McGloin than Brock Osweiler or Tom Savage. I don't even think Tom Savage is playing this game. I'm not up to date on his concussion thing. I don't know if he has one, what's going on, if he's in protocol, if he's gonna be out of it by the time the game starts. I don't know. But yeah, that game is very interesting because I think it's going to come down to the defenses. And maybe who has the better offense, and that's the Raiders. Even without Derek Carr, they have the better offense. And if you guys remember, that offensive line has really carried them in a lot of games. And when they lost to Assembly and against the Broncos, I can't remember what game that was. I could not remember right now what game that was, but they really struggled without him. They really struggled without him. So yeah, I think it was against the Chiefs. I can't remember right now, but yeah, I'm gonna say it was against the Chiefs. Excuse me. I apologize. I can't not do it. Sneeze or blow my nose. I can't not do it. But yeah, that's an interesting game because you have 2 backup quality quarterbacks going up against each other, and I think the Raiders. Yeah, the Raiders are on the road. So that is a tough game, man. You got Amari Cooper, you got Michael Crabtree, you got the 3-headed monster in that backfield, you got the great offensive line of the Raiders. Last time these teams played, the Raiders waxed the Texans because Derek Carr had a really good game, but it was a very close game until towards the end of that game when Brock Osweiler turned into Brock Osweiler and started throwing picks. So I'm going to go with the Raiders. I think the Raiders win their first playoff game in a very long time. And yeah, I think the Raiders win that game. I really, really do. And then we can talk about the Cowboys and Falcons in the NFC. I really do think, and I really do think the NFC Championship is going to be Atlanta, and it might be Seattle. I do not think Dallas, because Seattle's going to have to go on the road. The playoffs will go through Dallas, so that is going to be very interesting. So I definitely think the divisional game is going to be Seattle and Dallas. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to talk about that game for a second. I know that the rookies now. A lot of people are, oh, they haven't looked like rookies. The one that hasn't looked like a rookie is Ezekiel. He hasn't really, other than the first couple games there, he looked like a rookie. Then he figured it out. He hit his rookie wall really early on, which is a good thing. But Dak has looked like a rookie in a couple of games. Against really good defenses, he's looked like a rookie. Against the Giants, he looked like a rookie in that game. Now, I'm not saying it's all Dak's fault, because that defense did a really good job. And the Cowboys kind of got away from the run game points in that game. I think that really hurt them in that game. But that is a very, very interesting matchup there. Because obviously the Cowboys offensive line, the run game. Then you got Seattle, who's been very bipolar on the road. But Russ Wilson is very good on the road in the playoffs. We've seen that before. No, not on the road. At home, my bad. I didn't mean to say at road. I got a little crazy right there. No, wait. Oh, man. I can't remember where. Anyway, my point is, Russ Wilson, very clutch for the playoffs. He's proved that time and time again. But, yeah, that's going to be very interesting. That's going to come down. Oh, man, I really don't know, because I think Seattle's defense is levels and levels above Dallas's defense. I think they're just that much better than them. That's going to be a very interesting game. And you know what? I think that's going to come down to who makes the least amount of mistakes. And obviously Seattle's missing Earl Thomas, and that has showed up a lot in these last couple games without him. So yeah, that's gonna be interesting. If I had to pick one, I think it's gonna be Seattle who wins that game. That might be a very controversial pick, but yeah, I think Seattle. I think it stop the run and make Dak have to win that game. If they make him have to win that game, then I like Seattle a lot in that game. But yeah, so I could see that game going either way though, for a lot of different reasons. Like I said, if Russell Wilson turns the ball over a ton, I think the Cowboys will capitalize on that, because they are at home, and they're very good at capitalizing on turnovers when that defense gets them. Sean Lee has been a beast all year, so I could see that game going two different ways for a lot of reasons. But if Seattle doesn't turn the ball over, I think Seattle has a really good chance of winning that game. So yeah, if I had to say it would win that game, it'd be Seattle. But then we got Atlanta. And I think it's going to be whoever makes it. Now, if it's the Giants in Atlanta, let's just say it's the Giants, right? The Giants have a way better defense than Green Bay does, all around. Even then, I really don't think the Falcons, or the defense for New York, can match up with that offense. That offense is so prolific, that it's so explosive. It's so hard to guard. Now, the Falcons defense is so bad. It's given up a lot of points this season. So it's not an all-around defense at all. They've got playmakers on that defense. Keanu Neal, Desmond Trufant, linebacker Jones. They've got a lot of playmakers on that defense. So, but they're not an all-around defense by any means. Vic Beasley, obviously, who's led the league in the NFL with sacks. They just give up a lot of points. They're not a very complete defense. So that Falcons offense, though, is so good. It's so good. So good. So good. So whoever if it's the Packers or the Falcons, or not, if it's the Packers or the Giants, I think it's going to be the Packers. And if the Packers make it, they're going to get, I don't want to say they're going to get their cheeks beat, but I don't think that's a good matchup for the Packers by any means. I think maybe, because the Packers played the Falcons earlier in the season, and they won that game because of Aaron Rodgers, and that defense actually did a decent job on that offense. So maybe Matt Ryan doesn't have a good game in the playoffs. Maybe he chokes. I don't know. Or did the Falcons beat? No, I'm pretty sure the Packers beat the Falcons. But yeah, that offense still was pretty, did a lot of good things against it. And I might be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure the Packers beat the Falcons. So I like the Falcons in that game. So I guess my NFC Championship game would be the Falcons and the Seahawks. So yeah, so it's been a crazy year, man. It's been a crazy year for a lot of reasons. I mean, look back on the Vikings going 5-0. They trade for Teddy Bridgewater at the beginning of the season, or not Teddy Bridgewater. They trade for Sam Bradford. He breaks the NFL record for completion percentage because of that dink and dunk offense. Yeah, it's been a crazy year. I mean, what are the Vikings gonna do? They don't like the players don't like their coach anymore. I don't know if they're 100% behind him anymore. There's a lot of crazy things going over there in Minnesota. I think that's the most interesting thing to look at. Then, and seriously, mark my words on this, wherever Vance Joseph goes, and especially if it's Denver, especially if it's LA, man, look out if it's LA, because that defense is really talented, and if Vance goes there, he loves the 3-4 defense. Watch out. Watch out. I don't know. I think the Rams run a 4-3, but it doesn't matter. Watch out for Vance Joseph. Wherever he goes, he could change a lot of the landscape of the land, if you will. So yeah, it's been a crazy year for a lot of reasons. Obviously, the two Super Bowl teams missed the playoffs. The two Super Bowl teams missed the playoffs for very similar reasons, because of offensive line issues. So yeah, it's been a crazy year. I can't wait for the playoffs. And that's going to be it, guys. I'm Skyxer83, and I'll see you guys in the next.